Sorry, I cannot be at school today. My son is sick. So what we have right here is our agenda for today. I can't be there, but I have this awesome new thing that Mr. Burning showed me, so we're going to try to work through this. We were going to grade our quiz. We're going to have to do that at a different time. I am going to go through a review. I'll give you some dates I want you to add to your timeline. That'll be a good review for your test that you'll be taking in our next class. And then we're going to cover one topic, topic 108, Scientific Revolution. Your DBQ, we're going to actually hold off on that one, so don't worry about having an essay yet, but we will most likely have them fairly soon. Okay, with our test coming up, you will have these 8 locations on that test. So make sure that you're looking over that location because that can bust you up a little bit. Speaking of the test, just a little breakdown of the test. There is going to be all 16 topics on the test. Those were 3 points each for a total of 48%. For those 16 topics, you can have a word bank, but that word bank will drop your highest attainable score to an 89%. In getting ready for the test, what I highly suggest you doing is looking at the first, or going through all 16 topics. So looking at the first topic, the modern world, and if you can summarize that topic in 1 sentence or 2 sentences, then you probably know it well enough for the test. If you cannot do that, then those are the ones that you need to focus on, and or you might also want to consider taking the word bank. The word bank is not a bad thing, it's actually there to help you. So if you are not quite ready to remember all of the topics, and here are a couple of them on the screen that I have right here, then I highly suggest taking the word bank. It's not a bad thing, it's all good. Now, in getting ready for this test, we do want to add a few things to our timeline. So on this, if you would, go to your timeline. Okay, so flip to that page. I think the last thing, or the next thing that we need to add is Gutenberg. So if you look at our dates right now, you can tell that we've kind of been going out of order. We've kind of told 2 different stories, and we've done that for a reason, because it's a little bit easier to tell the whole Conquest of the Americas story, and then once we finish that, tell the whole religion story, and then sprinkle in, China, Japan, and Russia in there as well. So if you would, make sure you add Gutenberg 1455. That is a test answer, so you should box that one up. 1455 is the year that Gutenberg created his Bible. So remember, dates are not so important for me. I'm not going to ever say, what year did this happen? But you will need to know that this happened before this and this happened before that. There's always one question on the test that is a timeline question. In 1517, we've got Martin Luther nailing his 95 Theses. So let's put down our Protestant Reformation, and we want to box that one. That's also a test answer. So add that one in. 1525 is a year that I just kind of put that goes after the Counter or the Catholic Reformation. Both will suffice for the test, by the way. Box that one up. We've got a test answer. 1588 is the year that Elizabeth I defeats the Spanish Armada when King Philip of Spain tries to invade and conquer England and Elizabeth I. So we still got our whole religion story going on here. 1602, this is when Tokugawa goes in. He was a warlord. With the help of Portuguese guns, succeeds in unifying Japan, and he creates a Tokugawa shogunate. Test answer. Box it up. Okay, next thing that we've got on here, I have here is the Qing dynasty. That date is 1644. That is when the Manchu nomads cross the Great Wall and overthrow the peasant army that had already overthrown the Ming Emperor. Please box it up. Test answer. 1550 to 1648 is going to be another test question, which will be the Wars of Religion. If you remember, this is just our summary of everything that we've talked about with our religion story. right? So we've got everything from the Martin Luther, Protestant Reformation, Counter-Reformation, Elizabeth I. We're going to summarize it all into the wars of religion. Also in there was something like called the 30 Years' War, which devastated Europe, left a third of Germany dead on the battlefield. Except this one is a man-made disaster, Christians killing Christians. Box it up, Wars of Religion, 1550 to 1648. 1682, we've got Peter the Great. You can notice right here we've gone a lot out of order compared to the way that they actually went, but it was just easier to kind of keep our three things that don't really fit into our story right in the middle. Those are like our halftime. So Peter the Great, he is a divine right monarch, which actually fits right after this. But Peter the Great, he was a divine right monarch. We've seen that before because Sophia, his aunt, was going to have him killed. The prison guard couldn't do it because of this divine right. Peter the Great, great because he modernizes or westernizes Russia. Test answer, box it up. And our last topic that we have here, actually, you know what, I just noticed I didn't have one more thing on there. Our second to last is going to be divine right monarchs. You can just put 1500s to 1700s. Remember we talked about a guy by the name King Louis XIV. These were the monarchs that thought that it was God's will for them to rule. 1500 to 1700s. Now our last one that we're actually going to teach you today, you can put the 1600s through the 1700s. It's going to be the scientific revolution, scientific revolutions. And we'll say that again, 1600s through the 1700s. So not a real exact date on that, but that's the time, 1600s, 1700s, scientific revolution. And with that said, oh, there's our timeline that you would be adding to if we were actually in class right now. Our objective. Cool thing about this video, if I'm going too fast, go ahead and push pause. Keep it up on the screen. Okay, so our objective today is to explain why the scientific revolution was controversial in the 1600s. Remember, this whole movement's going to be taking place in the 1600s. Okay, explain why the scientific revolution was controversial in the 1600s. I might go a little bit fast through these things just because I can't read the cues of what you guys are doing, if you can keep up with me or not. So, like I said earlier, if that happens, just push the pause button. We're all good. I'll be here for you, holding your hand right through these notes. Stay with me, punks. Alright, topic 108, scientific revolution. This is your 16th topic of our first unit. That means after this topic you are 1/6 of the way done with your freshman world history. Right on. Yeah. Okay, so we haven't really spent a lot of time on the Renaissance, but the Renaissance was something that, you know, kind of think of as like rebirth and new ideas. Okay, that was in the 1400s, which kind of led way to looking for new lands with the conquest of the Americas, which we talked about. So Renaissance kind of helps people kind of question a little bit. Conquest of the Americas helps people question the world and how it was created, not created, but how it was, right? So you got the old world, new world, so you got this whole new part. So that's a big question. And then the Reformation, the Protestant Reformation, all of these, that changes the way people think about religion. All of this changed the way Europeans think during this time. So I guess what we could say is that there was fertile ground for science, okay? Because what's going to happen now with all of these minds changing, right, and being open to new ideas, Europeans are going to now pursue science. Okay, so what is science? That's my question. You might be answering it right now. False. If you were like my last two classes yesterday, you sat there in silence and didn't have anything. Well, science is, you know, following the scientific method. So, questioning, hypothesis, testing, and then studying or analyzing your results and drawing conclusions, those things, and it needs to be replicated. So, following this pattern to help discover the undiscovered right now, another way of looking at the world. That's what science is for us. And this all kind of starts in the 1600s in Europe with this scientific revolution. So what would it be without a trivia crack question? So what I would like you to do as I read through these, I'm going to give you a few seconds after I read it. I want you to jot down in your notebook your answer. If you get all 3 of them right, I'm going to give you an Air 5 through the computer. Okay, but only if you get all 3 right. Trivia question number 1. Which Italian physicist / astronomer used a telescope to observe the heavens with an N and prove the Earth was not the center of the universe? 3, 2, y 1. Galileo, yeah! Interesting, the Catholic Church actually put Galileo on trial because he changed the way the Catholic Church thought. So kind of an interesting picture here. You can see a chain on his hands. Fun fact for you. Trivia question number 2. Who discovered the principle of gravity while sitting under an apple tree? 3, 2, y 1. And the survey says Sir Isaac Newton. Yes, give yourself another +1 or -1, I guess. Now the third one, actually I didn't write up a question here, but this is the separator. I might have a lot of you right now that got both of those questions right. So we're going to add in the question that I had no student get correct yet, but at my old school they did. Okay, so this person, trivia crack question number 3, this person discovered the microscope. Who is it? Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Alright, let's be real, none of you got that right. Okay, so let's actually jot this down in our notes since most of you don't know this. Anton von Leeuwenhoek is noted for building the first microscope, which is a complete game changer. Think of everything that we've been able to do with a microscope and observing these tiny organisms, and now developing different vaccines and medicine in general and everything and all of the above. Alright, so this is a big time game changer. Thank you, Scientific Revolution. Next time you get sick and you take some antibiotics, pause before you go to your doctor. Actually, right when he gives you this antibiotic medication, you say, "Thank you, Scientific Revolution," and then you take it, and then feel better after that. Yep. Anton von Leeuwenhoek. It's a fun word to say, Leeuwenhoek. Now, the Scientific Revolution includes these: Galileo and Sir Isaac Newton and Anton von Leeuwenhoek and a whole bunch of others. All of these things during the 1600s and 1700s amount to a leap in scientific understanding during this century or two. Something that we refer to as the Scientific Revolution. Hey, there's a concept that works. Now, why it becomes such a big deal is similar to why does the Protestant Reformation become such a big deal? Because during this time, thank you Johannes Gutenberg, printed books spread these scientific ideas much faster. And not only that, with these, coupled, I guess, with the Protestant Reformation, you've got people kind of questioning the Catholic Church and questioning religion in general. So now they're having another answer to their questions, and that answer is that science could actually explain the universe with natural causes rather than just looking to religion for the answers. So that kind of puts a big question mark and also kind of detracts a little bit from this, the Catholic Church being the most powerful entity in the world during this time. Okay, so thank you Johannes Gutenberg for spreading science, I guess. Oh, here we go, let's see if this will work. I don't know if this will work or not.
I am man. Our greatest dread has always been the knowledge of our own mortality. But tonight, we shall hurl the gauntlet of science into the frightful face of death itself.
Invention always begins with an idea. Inventors must allow their imaginations to go where no one has been before.
Give my creation life!
And when they say necessity is the mother of invention, keep in mind some ideas are better than others. The world saw an explosion of new ideas in the 17th century. European thinkers challenged conventional thought based on traditional authority and mysticism. A new wave of examination changed the way people looked at their world. The scientific revolution was underway. Logic and reason replaced faith and age-old beliefs. Such a rational and methodical approach, still used today, is known as the scientific method. New ideas yielded new knowledge found through observation, hypothesis, and experimentation. At the forefront of scientific discovery was the astronomer Copernicus. He held that the sun, not the earth, was the center of the universe. Galileo expanded on Copernicus's hypotheses and perfected the telescope. And Isaac Newton studied principles of gravity and developed a new system of math called calculus to prove his theories. These scientists transformed the way we view the solar system. Revolutionary ideas like theirs often met resistance from traditional authority. Galileo was even tried for his ideas, but the efforts of those scholars put science and discovery into motion. Gradually, scientific reasoning was applied to political, economic, and social philosophy. And the late 17th and 18th centuries became known as the Age of Enlightenment. Ideas born during this time greatly influenced all of society, even in the American colonies.
Oop.
The spirit of scientific inquiry was kept.
We're going to actually pause there because it's going to start getting into 1900 stuff, even present day. But we're just finished there at the end. The scientific revolution is going to lead into this Enlightenment, which is going to impact the American Revolution. All that is our next unit, so Air 5, because that's going to be awesome. Speaking of Air 5, I should do a quick check on those trivia crack questions. Those of you that got 3, which might be none of you, but if you are one of those 3, Air 5 to you. Everyone else, you are a loser. Thank you. Okay, so let's see. I think that next slide is going to be one. Okay, yeah. This is not the slide we want you to do right now. At this time, if you would, please open up your text packet. In that text packet, we're going to do this all by our lonesome. But don't worry, we've been doing this now for like 5 or 6 weeks, so we should have this down somewhat. Open up your text packet and to the scientific revolution. You're going to read this silently. And now you're going to be brave and you're going to be confident, and you are going to highlight what you think the main idea of the topic is. Okay, so what is the scientific revolution? To go back to our objective, why is this controversial? Okay, I want you to ponder that as well and try to answer that in your head as you read. Thank you very much. If you have any questions before the test that we're going to be taking, make sure that you come talk to me during seminar. Now, I kind of started saying this earlier on, and I didn't finish it, but what I was saying is that there's 16 topics. You can pick a word bank if you want it. There are 8 map locations, which you know all about that. There are going to be another 7 multiple choice questions. Those are worth 3 points each, so that's 21% of your test. And then 3 short answers for a total of 100 points. Make sure you study it up because it is worth 50% of your grade. Yeah.